Hey, I just wanted to come on here and have a little chat about some things I've been seeing on the interwebs lately. I don't need these. I'm not listening to anything right now, anyhow. But as the videos or the stream is titled, Rising Video Game Prices and Why You Are the Problem. Uh, yeah, you're the fucking problem. Um, I've been sitting here playing PC games. I mainly buy indie titles. They're usually really cheap. I seldom buy AAA games. When I do, it's a very rare exception. I also hold businesses that I give money to a certain standard. So when they fail to meet those standards, I stop giving them money. The problem is that I am the minority. And if you're raging right now and you're like, how dare you blame this on me? Well, if the bra fits, wear it. Because I'm not the one who's been pre ordering all these games. I'm not the one who's been purchasing microtransaction cosmetic items. I'm not the one who's been straight up just buying shit, even though they're doing stupid shit like making the women uglier in the games and doing all this other counterproductive stuff to the actual enjoyment of the game. No, I'm not that person. That's most of you guys, honestly. The people who uh, hate watch things as well. Like when everybody spurged about that fucking Velma cartoon, and everybody was so interested in making fun of it and seeing how terrible it was that it actually got good enough ratings to be greenlit again. All the people who keep ranting about things that they don't like, uh, as opposed to praising the things that they do like, all this is to blame for, especially like the rising prices. Like, why are you guys still buying like most of this AAA garbage? I mean, I used to pre-order games. I used to do like the fucking midnight releases at GameStop and stuff, but maybe I have some really thick nostalgia glasses on. But when I was really big into gaming, it was when the Xbox 360 came out. And that whole console's lifespan was pretty much my peak gaming. It's when I had made the most friends online. It was amazing. I felt like we were getting so many great games coming out, like one right after the other. And it wasn't limited to the same fucking schlock either. There was a lot of different variety. If there was a type of game you were wanting to play, odds are it was coming out because developers at the time were taking a lot of risks as well. They were doing a lot of moves that probably wouldn't pan out on paper, but actually did. And there were a lot of plans that would have panned out on paper, but actually didn't. But this was right before they started doing like the live service games, and DLC was starting to get in because you had like the Oblivion horse armor and stuff, which I bought. I'm gonna admit it, I bought it at the time, but it was like 400 gamer points at the time, which was like $5 an Xbox for the Xbox points, and it just wasn't that big of a deal. I mainly bought it just because I enjoyed Oblivion so much that when I saw that they had like DLC content for the game, I was like, I want that. I want all this. So I bought that. I bought the Frostcrag Spire, and I bought the Deep Scorn Hollow, and the Knights of the Nine, and the Shivering Isles. And the horse armor was really fucking shit. And it's not because I paid money for just some stupid cosmetic item. It was shit because I put it on like my shadow mirror, the horse that you get from the Dark Brotherhood, and then my horse just disappeared from the rest of the game. Could never find it again. Just it took the armor and ran. I'm not saying that horse is a gold digger, but anyways, getting back to it, I've been very strict on myself as to whom I give money and time to. And that includes like just playing games where I feel like the developers have just completely gone off the fucking farm. A great example of that is Helldivers 2, which when that game first came out, it was fucking awesome. Everybody was so pumped about it. But then the developers kept meddling with it. They kept nerfing things. They're like, oh, too many people are using this weapon. So we're going to make this weapon completely useless because how dare players have, a preference. Um, and if you want to sit there and be like, well, what would you have done? Well, what I would have done is if I saw that most of the players were using this one weapon, I would assume that it's probably because that's the most powerful weapon in the game. So what I would have done was I would have just buffed every other weapon to bring it up to the level of that one. I wouldn't have nerfed anything. I would have buffed. That I don't understand developers who they're like, we gotta nerf this. No. Just bring all the other weapons up. Let people have fun. It's a fucking video game. This is not an Olympic event, guys. You know what the most important part of balance is? Fun. It's being able to enjoy what you're doing. Anyways, that's me getting sidetracked. But like I said, rising game prices is the problem is the gamers. I mean, we could sit here and bitch about the fucking corporations and the publishers and the developers as much as we want to, but at the end of the day, they're only doing what we allow them to do. And you're like, well, what do you mean we allow them to do that? Well, every time you give them money, you are giving them positive reinforcement for what they are doing. So when all these companies started doing like these live service and all these gamers started throwing money at Fortnite and stuff like that, guess what? They had a positive reinforcement to do more of that. A lot of people, for whatever reason, all were on like the Call of Duty trains and stuff like that. So what do? They start pumping out a Call of Duty every fucking year because that's what the market wants. These companies are not doing anything that they don't think the market will allow them to do. And the rising prices is one thing that the market has made it perfectly clear that they'll scream about it, but they'll still keep paying it. And that's the real crux of it. I stopped paying it. I don't give a fuck. You want to see my fucking... Let's look at my Steam library real quick here. So we got Abiotic Factor. I don't think that's even a 1.0. That's one of those early access games. Same with Battle Shapers here. That's an indie game. Bears in Space. That's another indie game. Black Mesa. That's an indie game. That's actually the fan-made remake of the first Half-Life. Dead Space 3, that was pretty much when the Xbox and stuff started going to shit, in my opinion. We got Doom, we got Drive Beyond Horizons, that's an indie game. I got Enderal, that's an indie game, that's actually free. If you have Oblivion, you can get it and play it. In game, Road to Salvation, indie game. Ghost Exorcism, indie game. Gunfire, indie game. Killing Antidote, indie game. Last Hero of Nostalgaia, indie game. Max Payne, retro game. Nightmare Reaper, indie game, indie game, indie game. Retro AAA game. It's actually really good. I would classify Remnant 2 as a AAA game, but I still feel like they have the mentality of an indie studio. But I really enjoy what they have done. Uh, Stranglehold retro game, RoboCop indie game, Rocksmith retro game. This is a 2014 edition remastered, so 11 years old. Look at all of these indie games, man. Like even Shadow Warrior, even though technically that was like on the 360 and stuff. I think that was even one of the launch titles for the Xbox One. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, that's not even really that big of a game. But look at all these indie games. Oh, we got Space Marine 2 and World War Z. This is what I mean. This is the majority of the stuff that I'm putting my money into. But the majority of the stuff that other people are putting their money into is shits like Elder Scrolls. I can't believe that people even play that and think that's fun. Oh, they re released Far Cry 5 for $60. Who wants to pay that? Well, this is also showing me stuff they're recommending to me, so that really doesn't. Yeah, top played on Steam Deck. Like, people are still paying money for fucking 2K games. You want to talk about people who are to blame? Look at these. Look at the sports game cocksuckers. Okay. These motherfuckers have bought the same game every year. Usually the most changes that they have between titles is just slight roster changes. Like, that's it. I'm blaming the sports fuck nuggets for this shit. Like, the guys who love their sports games, y'all are to blame for most of this because y'all buy the worst fucking games out there, too. I'm sorry, but if you think that's gaming, it's not. You just. I'm gonna die on that fucking hill. I don't care how many of you guys like sports games. I think you're gay for it. Unless it's like a game about like trying to hook up with cheerleaders. Like every time I've been to a football game, a basketball game, I don't think baseball has cheerleaders. It's paying more attention to the food at baseball, like the hot dogs and stuff. But anyways, anytime I'm at a sports game, I'm paying more attention to the ladies and the fucking skirts and shit and dancing around. I could give a fuck less about watching a bunch of grown ass men in tights playing grab ass. Who can get the ball the furthest? I don't fucking care. I want to see that big titty girl do a flip again. Anyways, we're just looking at this. But yeah, like there's a shit ton of cool games that are coming out, but for whatever reason, the vast majority of people flock to these AAA titles. And that's the reason why these game companies are doing what they're doing. It's because y'all allow them to do it. Same thing with the console prices being raised. Y'all allow them to do it. How many times is Nintendo going to release a new console and then not make enough and then act surprised? I mean, it's happened almost for every console release that I can remember with Nintendo. I remember when the Super Nintendo came out, there was a shortage. When the 64 came out, there was a shortage. When the GameCube came out, there was a shortage. When the Wii came out, there was a shortage. When the Wii U came out, nobody gave a fuck. When the Switch came out, there was a shortage. But people reward companies for that. They stay loyal to companies that wipe their asses with with their with them. And I just don't get that. I don't get why people. I'm not saying you do necessarily. Maybe you're smarter than that. Maybe you actually have some agency as a consumer instead of being one of the members of the herd. But stop buying garbage and they will stop offering us garbage. Stop paying garbage prices and they will stop offering garbage prices. The consumers are the ones who set every single standard. If somebody puts a game out for $80 and nobody fucking buys it, you know what's going to happen? They're going to reduce the price of that game. They're going to put it on sale. They're going to take $10 off. They're going to see if people start buying it. $70 game. People still don't buy it. They'll take another $10 off. And it'll keep going until people start buying. And then then they'll see. They'll be like, okay, this is the perceived value that the market has for this product. This is what the market is willing to pay for this product. So stop buying games if you don't like the fucking price. Stop buying it. Games come and go so fucking quick that by the time you blink when a game comes out, it's already on sale. Just wait. Be patient. Have fucking self-control. The game's not going to disappear from existence if you don't play it right away. It will be there. I've got games that I've had for fucking 20 years that I haven't beaten yet. Okay? And it's still there. It's still waiting on me. Soul Reaver. I actually just came out with a remaster of it, so I got to buy it again. Oh. But seriously, if you're gonna go nuts on buying stuff, at least put your money into the pockets of companies that respect you. Uh, Great example are the indie games, the games that are developed by a single individual person. Schedule One is a great example of that. It's made by a single guy out in Australia. He made a game that people really like. He didn't have to spend bajillions dollars on it. It doesn't have realistic graphics. It just has a really fun gameplay loop, and people really like it. You don't need the big AAA games. They're just bloat. It's just financial bloat. It's essentially costume jewelry in game form. Like, you could either buy like this really nice kind of modest, fucking necklace that's actually sterling silver, even though it's not that fancy, it's still real jewelry. Or you could buy like this fucking cubic zirconian fucking iced out fucking swastika chain like fucking Kanye West or whatever. And you could be like, well, it's flashy and it looks really expensive, but it has no value other than that. And that's what these big AAA game titles are, is a lot of them are flashy and they look nice, but you scratch below that, there is nothing. It's just fucking nickel. Like, it's gonna turn your skin green if you play too much of it because there's no content to it. And that's what I really like about the indie games and why I wish more people would actually exclusively buy indie games, is because the indie games, they may not have as much polish, but they've got a lot more than what the Triple A's have, which they all often have a lot of depth. They also have a lot of developers who will work on the game and fix it if somebody says something's broken. Um, it's not a lot of bullshit going on. There's not a lot of small developers who are banning people for hate speech like 2K has decided to do, or they're like, we're not saying you don't have rights as a purchaser, but if you don't help us maintain a healthy, toxic-free environment. What the fuck is this? Like, did I buy a game or did I join a cult? Anyways, more people need to buy indie games and other things. More people need to pirate these fucking AAA titles too. I'm gonna say that. Pirate the fuck out of them. Rip them off. Do what they've been doing to you for years. And I know somebody's like, oh, these poor developers. Well, fuck them, man. I'm sorry, but a lot of these poor developers could easily just strike out on their own, get together another team of like-minded individuals and put out a game that sells fucking crazy, and they can keep all the money. Because right now, like, developers who are working for the big companies, it's just basically slave labor. They're not really making the money they should. They're not getting as big of residuals. But you know, throughout gaming history, it has always been a couple of developers break off from one company and start their own. And like, I think that happened with fucking John Romero and what's his face left Apogee, and they started 3D Realms. Um, so I like. Are we just supposed to cry about people just in slavery and not encourage them to strike out on their own? There's that other developer that came off of the Bethesda team that released his game, The Axis Unseen or whatever, which is like a stealth archer game, and it's fucking selling like crazy. And he's just one guy. He just decided to quit and put out his own fucking game, and he's doing great. And it really aggravates me when people, especially like that Mutahar guy, like that guy annoys me. And he's a nice enough guy, but he annoys me because he's always hitting like the red alert button, you know? He's always like, "Oh, this is it. This is it. This is it." And I saw one of his videos recently about how gaming is going downhill and everything, and it's like, dude, you are only paying attention to AAA gaming. Like, gaming is not changing at all. It's evolving. I mean, people are starting to reject the corporate slop that we've been being fed. But there will always be indie developers out there making video games just because they want to make video games. Not even because they want to make money. It's because they want to make video games. Because some people have this weird passion for doing a very specific thing. And they are going to do that thing regardless of whether or not it pays the bills. Walt Disney famously, you know, when he was starting up his studio, he couldn't pay his people for a long time. He had to keep convincing them to keep working and working, and eventually it all did pay off, you know? But it wasn't an easy path. But I don't know. Like I said, was like Mutahar like sounding the alarm for the death of gaming. I'm like, dude, just stop. I like the guy, but he's turned into like one of these modern day like rapture priests. You know, like every day he's bringing that. Oh, it's a rapture. It's coming. It's coming. The end of days. The end of days, ladies and gentlemen. End of days. Like, dude, cool your fucking jets. It's not that big of a deal. I know he's doing a lot of it for content, but it does kind of annoy me. Like, it's like, dude. And other people are freaking out about it. It's like, oh, the gaming prices are going up. The gaming industry is going to crash. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, it will for maybe like large corporations, but at no point in time is anybody going to stop playing video games. Nobody is going to stop buying video games. Nobody is going to stop making video games. So I'm not understanding where this is coming from, because the only thing I see is The large corporate fuck nuggets are screwing themselves over like they always do, stepping on their own fucking dicks and raising their prices. But I don't. Market's pretty healthy for every other game that doesn't have that big fucking corporate train behind it. Like I said, that Schedule 1 game is. It's got to be breaking some records, and that's a single dude. This game has sold millions. Like, that dude became, like, a billionaire overnight. And you're telling me that the gaming industry is in peril? No. The only people in peril are the big suit fags. That's what I like to call them. Like the corporate people and the board. I call them suit fags. But skinny, that's derogatory. That's mean. Well, guess what? It's supposed to be. That's the entire point of it. It's supposed to be mean. It's supposed to make somebody feel like absolute fucking filth. Because guess what? Guess who is absolute fucking filth? Suit fags. Who ruin everything. They ruin every fucking movie. They ruin every fucking franchise. Kathleen Kennedy shit, you know, put a chick in it, make her gay. Those people don't deserve any respect. That's the other thing, like with hate speech. Like, you realize, like, it doesn't matter how perfect the world is, you're always gonna need a word to express anger or to describe the way a person is acting that's pissing you off. And one thing that's always stopped me from even buying into the whole mentality of, well, it's just about other people's feelings. Well, if we're really going to sit here and say that we as a society need to step up and better reflect on how we treat one another, why is nobody against calling somebody else an asshole? Have you ever seen somebody outraged or offended because they called somebody an asshole or a dickhead or a piece of shit or a motherfucker or a cunt or... You know, there's lots of other words that are incredibly mean to say to people, but nobody ever brings it up. And I always thought that was very strange. But anyways, that's beyond the point. But gaming, you are the problem. Stop paying these prices. Stop being the problem and then crying about it later. That's the real annoying part about it, is if you guys want to be the problem and keep buying up garbage after garbage, by all means, go ahead. Enjoy your garbage. But shut the fuck up and don't complain about it. I'm tired of hearing it. I do not give two fucks about your gay ass fucking culture war. I think both of y'all have tiny penises. I think both of y'all are fucking children. What kind of gun do I carry into a culture war? Just curious about that. Or is it just a bunch of faggots who are arguing online who want to try to make it sound more noble than it actually is? Like, are trying to make arguing with some tard on Twitter sound more like a knight in shining armor going against a fucking dragon. Like, no, it's just gay, retarded people on the internet arguing. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. You're the problem. Stop paying the prices and they'll go down. Piracy is a right. People having access to information, and nobody should be denied access to participate within